respectful of everybody that came on time. All right. And Amber, Chrissy, y'all can hear me okay, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for making the time to come out tonight. My name is Steve Olson. You probably just saw my name on LinkedIn. That's probably how you heard about this event. You know nothing about me. I am a Army vet, and gosh, the minute it just started pouring rain like crazy outside. Sorry, that like startled me, and my windows are getting smashed. Um, uh, who appreciate that, Hercules. So I'm an Army vet, and I spent a couple of years active duty. Did 6 years in the reserve. I had one of those normal contracts. I was a teacher after that. Transitioned into IT a few years ago. Got my master's and working. I'm almost done with my doctorate in higher ed, and I've been with CWCT for about 3 years. I have a passion for veteran education and resources. I worked in the chaplain corps and have worked with a lot of different nonprofits since then, and really happy and proud to be working with my colleagues Amber and Chrissy, who I'll let introduce himself in a moment. CWCT, for those who are not aware, this is a program going on for a little over 3 years now. This started as a pilot program via the NSA's NCAEC, which is kind of a fancy term for an education wing of the NSA through the DoD. And they funded this program through a grant through all the universities you see on this screen. So for those not familiar with programs like this, especially everyone in here is a vet, right? So you're probably familiar with DoD funding, but consortiums and higher ed stuff, I had never heard of this stuff before I joined. So all these universities you see, UNC Charlotte, that's where I work. Amber actually works at Purdue University Northwest. Chrissy works at Ivy Tech Community College, and we also work with University of Tennessee Chattanooga. All of these universities work together to form that big logo in the middle, CWCT. And really, that's just a name for a bunch of universities working on a federal grant to provide free training to veterans. The idea behind CWCT is that there are and thank you for transcribing it, whoever put that on, there are a large number of cybersecurity jobs that are open in the United States. Veterans, both from a perspective of diligence and quick learning and forever learning, in addition to security clearances, make for very good candidates for cybersecurity. So there's definitely an incentive for the federal government to create programs like this. However, for folks like us, it's also just a cool way that we can give back. Chrissy works a lot with the military community. Amber is a milspouse. I served. We believe in what we're doing. There's no I just say this when like y'all saw this on LinkedIn. There's no sales pitch here. We don't make money off of anything. We just try and find students that want to do this program through word of mouth. But it's a pretty cool program. We put gosh, at this point, I'll let Chrissy say the numbers, but hundreds, if not thousands, of veterans through the program. And we just want to give you all some information about what we do. Um, in a nutshell, and I'm going to let Amber and Chrissy go through the kind of fine details. In a nutshell, CWCT is a virtual, synchronous, and asynchronous program in the sense that you have actual live instructors with the option to watch them online in a busy schedule. And you're going to take 6 months to a year to finish our program. It is, and thank you, Amber, for the link to the website. It's an online program. You have live instructors. They usually meet on weekday nights, and then you finish up and you'll end up with a certificate from the program, which you can put on LinkedIn. And you'll also hopefully have some certification exams that a lot of these courses will prepare you to take. We also pay for one of them. Christina, great question. How fast? We're going to get to that. It's a really good question. Our program is not that fast paced. I would not say it's an easy program, but our goal, because we're funded by the Fed, we're not making money off of any of you guys. We have no interest in seeing how many people we can get in our program. We want you to pass the courses. We want you to pass the program and finish the program. And we want you to pass the certification exams you choose to sit for. So, and we're going to kind of go in the nitty gritty of all of that. But in a nutshell, that is CWCT. We've been doing it for a few years now. And because you're here, that means you meet the qualifications probably, but I'll say it anyways in case you came here by mistake. If you want to do this program, you got to be current or former U.S. military. You need to be a U.S. citizen, or you need to be a first responder, and that could be a firefighter, a paramedic, a police officer, a federal agent, as long as you're also a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. So really that's it. I'll do a quick introduction. I'll let Amber and Chrissy introduce themselves. I'm very privileged to work with these ladies. They do the hard work in our program. I'm just a talking head that never shuts up. But thank you all so much for your time, and we're gonna have a fun evening. We're gonna start. I'm sorry. Last thing I'll say, we're gonna do a little bit of talking head stuff. We're gonna do introductions. We've got a PowerPoint. It's not death by PowerPoint for you all were in the military. This is not death by PowerPoint, but we have slides to show you because it's easier to show you. And then the rest of the time is gonna be a Q&A. Type in the chat, come off and put on your camera. And I want to see some faces tonight. I don't want just that your name right there. Come off, show your face, talk on your camera, and ask questions, because we want to be able to give you all the information you need so you can make an educated choice of whether or not you want to do our program. Without further ado, Amber, Chrissy, do you want to introduce yourself and get us started?
I'll go ahead. I'll go next. So as Steve mentioned, my name is Amber Schuler. I am an academic advisor and outreach specialist in the Center for Cybersecurity at Purdue University Northwest. I've been an academic advisor for 16 years. As he mentioned, I'm a mil spouse. My husband retired from the Army. So I totally understand those spouses that had to go through deployments and relocations. And yeah, so I am here to help all of my fellow military people, spouses. So yeah, that is my experience, and I'll let Chrissy go.
Hello, good evening, everybody. As Amber and Steve said, my name is Chrissy Duncan. I am the program manager for the CWCT program associated with Ivy Tech Community College. I have been with Ivy Tech for it'll be 12 years this winter or this fall. Prior to that, I came also from an academic advising background, not only an academic advisor, but director of academic advising at Ivy Tech. So that put me in a great position to help students through this program, help with registration, things like that. So I do not, unlike the other two, have any personal experience with military, but I have also been with this program for 3 years. So I've been working with military, law enforcement, first responders in this program for that many years. And I'm very familiar with some of the things that you all bring to the table. So I will go ahead and get started. As Steve mentioned, we do have a slight presentation at the beginning. Really, it's a program overview. And my guess is a lot of the questions that you all have will probably be answered during this. But afterwards, we will, of course, open it up for any other questions you might have about the program, any, more, if you need more information detailed or clarified, we can answer that. So I am going to go ahead and get started. As Steve mentioned, this is a consortium between the 4 institutions. We really like to bring that to everybody's attention, because if you do end up applying to this program, you may be getting emails from somebody from Purdue. You may be getting emails from somebody from Ivy Tech. You may be getting emails from somebody from UTC, UNCC. So we want to make you aware that even though everything, if you go and you are admitted to the program, the classes themselves are all through the Ivy Tech platform. But we've got stuff coming from all different directions with the 4 institutions. So we definitely want to make you aware of that. Oh, I gotta put my, okay. So as I said, there's going to be an overview. The very first thing I want to mention, and I think Amber already put it in the chat, please feel free to go to our website at www.cwct.us. That will actually, it'll redirect you to the Purdue Northwest website. That's kind of our parent institution in this. And that way you can kind of follow along. A lot of this information will be on there. That's where you're going to apply, all of those good things. As Steve mentioned, we are currently only accepting applications for past and present U.S. military, law enforcement, and first responders who are U.S. citizens or U.S. permanent residents as of July 17th of 23. At this time, spouses and dependents of these categories are not eligible for application. With this grant, we have to have so many of our participants that fall within these categories. And unfortunately, just at this time, we don't have room for anybody else who does not fall into those categories. We even have a wait list of over 600 people who do not fit into those categories. So if you're here and do not fit into one of those categories, I apologize. You're not going to be able to apply at this time. I don't know if we will eventually open it back up for those categories. Please keep an eye on our website. You are more than willing, happy, or you are more than welcome to stick around if you would like for information, or if you know people who fit into these categories. But we do want to make that make you aware of that, so that you're not going through this whole thing just to find out at the end you're not eligible. Okay. The other thing, as I mentioned, we are 100% funded by this grant, which means we don't have other forms of payments coming in, which means we only have so much room in our program. Therefore, we can never guarantee admission to our program, even if you complete all of the application steps. And I will get to that, what those application steps are later. So please, you know, the recommendation we can make to you is the sooner you can apply, the sooner you can do those application steps, the higher chance you might have of being admitted prior to us filling up. But again, we cannot make any guarantees. So I want to make that clear as well. Okay, so everything I talk about from this program, of course, will be on the basis if you are admitted to the program, which again is not guaranteed. So just keep that in mind, that, you know, all of this will be based on if you are admitted to the program. So if you look on our website, you will see that while we're training in cybersecurity, there are 3 focus areas that an applicant can choose from to do their studies in. That's going to be a focus in artificial intelligence, a focus in digital forensics, or a focus in system administration. Okay. Again, if you go to our website, you can click on each of those areas and it will provide you with more information about those areas. I'm not going to go into details. You can read that on our website. Okay. Within each focus area, so I'm going to use system administration a lot as an example, because that is our largest group of, I would say, definitely greater than 50% of our participants are in that system administration track. So I'm going to use that a lot as an example, but the information I provide is applicable to the other 2 tracks as well. So within each track of study, you are going to take 6 courses, okay? These are non-credit courses, which means they are not going to get you a degree from a college. It's not going to get you an associate's degree. It's not going to get you a bachelor's degree, okay? We are a workforce training program. We are training you to try to get you out into the workforce, to get you certifications, to get you out in the workforce. That is our goal. Okay, so these 6 courses are non-credit. However, they are still of a college level. Okay, which is why, and you'll see this later, we have you take assessments as a part of the application process, because we have to be sure that you can perform at a college level. Okay, so you're going to take 6 non-credit college level courses. Okay, as Steve mentioned earlier, these courses are offered through live virtual lectures. So there will be a lecture at a specific day and time. It is typically 2 days a week, so a Monday and Wednesday or a Tuesday, Thursday. They are typically going to be in the evenings, typically 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central. Okay. We used to offer some weekend courses, and we just found that students were not being successful in them. They weren't finishing them. We had very high drop rates, very high withdrawal rates. So we did stop offering them. Now there's one in the AI track that tends to be offered on a Saturday because that's when the instructor can teach it. But typically they're going to be the 2 nights a week in the evenings. Now, we have people all over the world who are in our program because we're geared towards military, law enforcement, first responders. We have people who are located overseas, who are deployed. We have law enforcement and first responders that work really weird shift work where they could work several days and then not work. So any of these live virtual lectures, if you cannot attend the actual lecture, they are recorded so that you can watch them at a later time. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind if you cannot attend those live lectures because of time zone differences and because of work schedules, things like that. Okay, this is a 100% virtual program, okay, which means we have no in-person offerings through this particular program. Okay. For these 6 classes you will take 1 to 2 courses. You cannot take more than 2. And we'll talk about why here when we talk about time commitment. You'll take 1 to 2 courses in an 8-week session. Okay. So you'll be in class for 8 weeks and then you'll have a 2-week break. And then you'll be in class for 8 weeks and then you'll have a 2-week break, so on and so forth. Okay. And that's why Steve said this could take it could take like 4 months to a year to do. Sorry, not 4, 6 months to a year to do, because you're taking 6 courses and you can only take up to 2 at a time. So if you're taking 2 courses at a time, that is more where it's 6 to 7 months. If you're only taking 1 class at a time, that's where it's going to take you a full year to do, because it's going to take you 6 sessions to do. Okay. And I have the list of upcoming sessions later on. Okay. Steve mentioned, and I have mentioned, workforce certifications, industry certifications. That is our goal, is to try to get you these certifications that will be helpful for you to get jobs in cybersecurity in the workforce. So most, not all of our courses prepare you to take a certification at the end. Okay. Not all of them do, unfortunately, but they are still classes that are needed as a basis information that you need to get a good background in that particular subject. I think AI has 4 certifications. I believe digital forensics has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the system administration, system administration has 5 as well. And I'll kind of talk about that here in a second as well. As a part of this program, we give participants, we cover the cost of 1 guaranteed voucher for 1 certification. Okay. And then participants may have the ability to request up to 2 additional vouchers for a total of 3 if we have funding available. Okay. We have the funding to give you that 1 guaranteed voucher. The other 2 will really be based on what kind of funding. And the reason why we can't really tell you yes or no for sure is there is no way for us to know who's getting the vouchers at what time. We have so many students in our program. We have 700 at a time taking classes. Some may want some particular vouchers, some may not want some. So it's going to be one of those that if you go for a 2nd or 3rd, you're going to request it. And at that time is when we'll tell you whether we can cover it or not. Okay. At the end, as Steve mentioned, you will get a certificate of completion once you have finished all 6 of your courses. This will come from the 4 institutions. Again, it is not a college degree, but it's going to have the 4 institutions on it, and it is that certificate of completion. Okay. So here's a big important thing, because a lot of students will apply to our program because they want to take and they want to eventually get like the ethical hacking certificate. okay, or a certification, not realizing there are classes they have to take. You can't just be admitted and take any class you want, okay? You have to complete all 6 of your courses in a particular order. We have prereqs, okay? You cannot, we have a set curriculum, in other words, that you have to follow if you are admitted to the program for your particular track. You cannot pick and choose which courses you do or do not want to take. You can't do one class from system administration and one class from digital forensics and one class from artificial intelligence. You choose one track, and those are the 6 classes that you have to take to complete that track. You have to follow the established prerequisites. And I'm going to show you an example here in a second. Okay. Some of you may already have some of the certifications that are associated with our class. The biggest one that we see is the CompTIA Security Plus class. CompTIA Security Plus is one of our courses that's required for all 3 tracks of study. And a lot of our applicants already have that certification. If that is the case, we would look to see about getting you a waiver for that particular class. At the time that you would be scheduled to take it. We need to make sure that it hasn't expired, but you could get waivers if you have some of those certifications already that we prepare you for. What that means is you just have one less class to take. You do not have to replace it with another course, okay? So if you have Security Plus, that means you only have to take 5 classes instead of 6. Okay. The other big question we get is, what if I want to take an alternative class for Security Plus because I have the certification? It's a direct waiver. You don't have to take it. But the question we get all the time is, do you have the option of, number one, getting more than one track of study, or taking classes? Let's say you do your 6 classes in your track of study, but you still maybe are interested in some of the other courses. Is there a way to take those courses? The answer is just maybe, okay? If we have room in those courses outside of your track of study, once everybody who registers for it, who needs the class first, once they're registered, if we have some additional room, you might be able to take those classes at that point. And if you take enough, it might lead to a second or third track of study completion. Okay. Just the short answer is maybe. You might be able to take additional classes. You might not be able to. It just depends again on our capacity. Okay. We can never guarantee that you will be able to take an additional classes. We have some students who have been requesting a certain course for session after session after session, and we just don't have room. And then there may be a session where, oh, we have room now, but we might only have 3 spots and 50 people have requested it. Okay. So it's just, we can't always guarantee it. So don't bank on being able to take those additional classes. Okay. All right, so this is an example. This is on our website. If you go under the tracks of study and you specifically click on system administration, you will see these 2 things. Okay, so this is an example of what I was talking about how there's a set curriculum that you have to follow. Okay, first of all, it's going to tell you the program requirements for that particular track of study. The A+ class, the Security Plus class, and the Cyber Ops class are required for all 3 tracks of study. That's our common core for all 3 tracks, okay? And then for the system administration track, your additional 3 classes are Linux, ethical hacking, and a cloud system administration class. Now, this is not the order that you take the classes in. This is strictly just a list, okay? The sample session by session plan of study is the curriculum and the order in which you have to do classes. This is also helpful because it tells you which certification is associated with the class. So for example, this is based on if you are taking 2 classes at a time. So if you are taking 2 classes at a time, in your first session, you would take the CompTIA A+ class and the Linux class. It tells you what the prerequisites are, which is our assessments and meeting our minimum requirements and our assessments. And then it tells you the CompTIA A+ class prepares you for the A+ certification. The Linux class prepares you for the CompTIA Linux Plus certification, okay? Now, if you are only taking one class at a time, we always put in the registration which class you should take of those two if you're only taking one class in order for you to stay on track. A+ is the class we recommend of those two because you can see here, it is the prerequisite for the next series of classes, which is Security Plus and CyberOps, okay? So you can't just come in here with no A+ certification or anything like that and say, oh, I was really hoping to take Security Plus first. You can't, okay? Because you do not have the prerequisite. You will see here that with Security Plus, the prerequisite is the A+ course. The co-requisite is the CyberOps course, which means you either have to have CyberOps first or be taking CyberOps at the same time, okay? So you have to follow the curriculum, okay? You can't pick and choose which classes you take.
Chrissy, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Just because I think it's a good one for
Sure.
right here.
Sure.
So we get a question a lot, like the vouchers, right?
Yes.
Like we get the 1 and up to 3, like you said.
Yes.
But can they just pick and choose which one? Like, how do they know which one to
Correct.
use?
Yep. So after you have passed a class, you will be provided information on how you can claim that voucher, okay? It is up to you which one guaranteed voucher you use for your certification. A lot of students leave that for the most expensive one, which are the EC Council certifications. For system administration, that's the CEH, and for digital forensics, that's the CHFI, okay? It is up to you what you use your vouchers for, and you do not need to let us know ahead of time. Essentially, what happens is when you get the instructions on how to claim your voucher, if you're wanting your voucher for that class, you follow the instructions that are provided to you to claim your voucher. If you don't want the voucher for that class, you simply just ignore my instructions, okay? You don't have to claim your voucher like right after you take the class. You can wait until you're all done with your education. The only problem with that is you only have access to your classes for so long. So we typically recommend getting those vouchers done as soon as you finish the class. Now we realize, like for this example, somebody who's wanting to do that EC Council CEH, that is not until the very end. It's either going to be your 5th or 6th class, depending on what order you do it. So what you could do is, okay, I'm going to save my voucher for CEH. So you save it, save it, save it, save it. You follow the instructions for your CEH voucher. And then, okay, I got my 1 guaranteed voucher, I passed. Now I want to go back and see if I can get a voucher for CyberOps, see if I can get a voucher for Security Plus. You can still then claim your vouchers after that to see if you have, if that money is left, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And Steve, do you believe that answered the question?
I feel like I know now.
Okay. Great.
No, I wanted to make sure everybody understood
Yes.
that because,
Yes.
you know, that's
yeah,
kind of it can come off as a little confusing, but really that's just kind of the way we are able to offer right now. So I want to make sure that's clear.
And you will find if you're admitted, we do pretty good I feel we do pretty good communication with y'all. When you pass that class, I send a very detailed, like, here's how you claim it, here's what you need to do, here's the deadline, like very detailed. A lot of our emails can be long and lengthy because we include all those details that you need at that time, okay? So I wouldn't like harp on how do I get these vouchers. The idea is that you'll be given those instructions at the appropriate time, okay? Because you have to pass the classes. Because they're non-credit, they are pass-fail. And to pass, you need a 60%, okay? You have to pass the class in order to be eligible for a voucher, okay? So I think that answered what, or I think I hit on then an example of how you would do your courses. So again, you can go in and click on each of those 3 tracks and you can see this and see what classes are required, what order you would need to take them in, things like that, okay? All right, so one of the other big things, okay, is that a lot of students will apply to our program thinking that it is a self-paced program, okay? They're thinking, oh, I have 8 weeks to finish this program, okay? The sessions are 8 weeks. I'll wait until right before the session ends, knock all the work out, okay? That's not the way this program works, okay? We have those weekly lectures, again, that are virtual and recorded. You need to, a participant needs to be submitting assignments every week for this class, okay? Because we are trying to set you up for success, okay? Those participants who are waiting until the very end are not finishing these classes. We want you to be successful. We want you to finish, okay? So you need to demonstrate participation by submitting. There's going to be quizzes, there's going to be labs, there's going to be homework, those kinds of things. Typically, those are going to be due like every Sunday, maybe every Saturday. It just depends on how the instructor has it set up, okay? So you need to be doing those assignments every week. Now, we know stuff happens, okay? If something happens that you cannot submit an assignment, you need to contact your instructor so that they can work something out. We can't work with you if we don't know what's going on, okay? Instructors are going to be much more willing to accept late work if they know what's going on. So communication is a big key in this program as well. So again, these are not self-paced classes. Can you work ahead? That is going to depend on the instructor. A lot of the instructors, the whole class is available to you. Now, you're not getting the benefit of the lectures that are happening in the future weeks. Now, is it if you move ahead and finish it, you can then move on to the next class right then and there? No, okay? The 8 weeks are the 8 weeks. We do not submit grades and we do not process grades until that 8 weeks is over. So even if you finish it and pass it in, let's say, week 4, your grade is not getting submitted until week 8. It's like 2 days, the Tuesday after the Sunday that the class ends, okay? So you're more than welcome to work ahead. It's not going to lead you to be able to move on to the next class. And we can't do that because if you finish in week 4, we can't put you into a next class because that other class, you've now missed 4 weeks worth of work, okay? So I know somebody asked, like, how fast paced is this? The way to think about this is, sorry, my daughter just came in, even though I told her not to disrupt me, is a lot of these classes were based on like an Ivy Tech class, which would be like 16 weeks long. And that information is taken from 6 weeks and crammed into 8 weeks, okay? So it can be a bit of a time commitment, but it is still very doable. And you probably see the time commitment here, but they're only 8 weeks, so they can move somewhat quickly, but again, it's still very doable, especially if you're only taking one class at a time. Okay. If a participant is not submitting these weekly assignments, they can be removed from the class and it counts as an attempt for the class. So we can't keep paying for students who are not doing the coursework, okay? So I mentioned time commitment. If you apply to our program, I would probably say about every other email tells you what a time commitment this program is. Maybe not that much, but several emails will tell you what a time commitment this is, and it's covered in our orientation. Because the number one reason why students will drop from 2 classes down to 1 is because of the time commitment, even though we told them what it could take, okay? So for one class, it is 6 hours of lecture each week. So you have 3 hours on Monday, 3 hours on Wednesday, okay? That's just the lecture part, okay? You might be able to work on some lab work, like they might do some lab work together on one of the days, but that's your lecture time, okay? Then it can take you 3 to 4 hours for each hour you're in class for homework, lab work, quizzes, tests, those kinds of things. So you can have a potential of up to 12 hours or more a week of this homework in the course. Okay. So for one class, that's 18 hours. Now, of course, the 12 hours of homework, that is, of course, going to vary student to student. Okay. Some may have a background already and they can knock it out really, really quick. Some may take longer than that. So it's going to be very student dependent, but it is a good guideline. Okay. So for one course, you're going to be dedicating 18 hours to the CWCT. Okay. If you are in 2 classes, you are going to be dedicating 36 hours to our program. Okay. That is a full-time job. Okay. And that is the main reason why a lot of the students, I would say about 75% of our returning students take only one class. Okay. New students, it's typically about 50-50 because they don't, again, realize, even though we've warned them and warned them and warned them of the time commitment, they don't realize what a time commitment it is. Okay. But you are getting that knowledge that you need for those certifications for the workforce. Our instructors come from these backgrounds. They've been teaching this information for a long time. They are a great resource, and we want you to have that time with them and getting those hands-on activities of doing these labs. And what can be, some instructors use very real-world examples that they use in their class. Okay. So it's important not to overcommit yourself and take more classes that you can manage with work and family and those kinds of things. Okay. It is not a requirement to take 2 classes. You can only take 1 class at a time if you cannot commit for 2. Okay. All right. So you all probably saw free program. Okay. And a lot of you probably thought, yeah, what's the catch? Nothing is really completely free. Okay. I want to talk about all the costs that we cover as a part of this program. Okay. First of all, and again, I'll talk about this during the when I talk about the application process. During the application, there will be an online English, math, and IT assessment. Okay, that you do online. You can do it in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go to a testing center, but those assessments are free to take. Okay. As well as if you do not hit our minimum requirement of a 70, there are then study paths, which is essentially just additional information with additional quizzes that you take to raise your score up to 70. Or in the case of the IT assessment, there are training modules that you complete with additional quizzes that can get you to that required score. And then there may even be some tutoring available if you're really struggling with the assessments. All of that is covered, a covered cost. That is all free. Okay. As we mentioned before, we cover the cost of 1 certification voucher guaranteed. We might be able to cover an additional 2 if funding is available. Okay. So what does that mean for a track of study that has 5 certifications like system administration? Okay. Well, we definitely will cover 1 of them. Then it is up to you, and then maybe we'll cover an additional 2. Let's say we are able to cover 2 more. So that means there are 2 certifications left. Okay. You are not required to get the certifications to move on in the program. Okay. So you can either choose just not to take them if you believe it's not going to be of much value to you, or you can pay for them out of pocket. Okay. That is paid to the test, the like CompTIA, that is paid to Cisco, that is paid to Python Institute, that is not paid to the program. Okay. That is paid through those. Okay. So there could be costs if you take vouchers, but again, not additional vouchers, but again, not to us. Okay. It covers, you get your live virtual instruction. Okay. If you were to go to college and take a class, you will be paying for that class and the instructor and the books and those kinds of things. Okay. So taking the classes themselves are free. Okay. all of the costs of books and materials and resources that are used in the class covered by the program. There are no costs for that. The only exception is if you have Linux as part of your track, which would be system administration and digital forensics. If you cannot complete that class the first time and you have to retake it, you will have to pay for an access code for that class. As of right now, me speaking, that access code is going to cost $29.95. So not a huge, it's not hundreds of dollars. Okay. But again, that is not going to be paid to us. That is going to be paid to Cisco Netacad, which is what that code is to access. Okay. We do not have hard copies of books, nor are there hard copies of books available that we use. Everything is going to be an online or virtual. Actually, there's only one class that actually uses a book. That's going to be ethical hacking. Everything else uses online resources like Cisco Netacad, NDG NetLab, things like that, that are kind of either we have access to as an institution or as open resource stuff. So books and materials, free, covered, okay? So really, again, the only cost would be if you have to retake Linux, and that is, again, to the Cisco Netacad and not to us. Or if you decide to take any vouchers outside of what you can get from us, that would be at your own. I will also say with the vouchers, a lot of, especially CompTIA, you can get a student discount. So if you decide, oh, going back to the vouchers, I forgot to mention this when Steve asked this question. As a part of the email you get when you pass a class and I provide you with the voucher information, there is a cost list that will be provided to you as well. So you can see, okay, here are the vouchers. Here's what they're going to cost. Yeah, I'm going to use mine for the most expensive one. Okay. But for CompTIA, so for A+, Security Plus, and Linux, you can get a student, because you would have a .edu and technically be a student, you can get a nice discount for those. So maybe you don't use one of our vouchers, but maybe you decide, oh, I'm just going to pay myself for this certification using the discount I can get as a student. Okay. The other one is Cisco CyberOps. There is, if you pass the class within Cisco Netacad itself, there's a discount in there through Cisco that can be used if you pass the class. So a lot of the students will say, you know what, I'm going to use this discount, which makes it cheaper than what we tell you, and I'm going to save my certifications for some of those more expensive ones. As far as I know, there's no student discount for either of the EC Council certifications. And again, those are the most expensive ones. So what kind of support do you get? So part of the cost and what we cover is the support that you also get through us. Okay. Again, we want to see you successful. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you get that cybersecurity job, get that promotion, those kinds of things. We have what will be called cybersecurity support analysts. They may be available for tutoring, their technical support. They work with our virtual machines and maintenance. There may be some graduate assistants that are assigned to some courses that can be there for some extra help. You will be assigned a program manager. That's where Amber and myself and Fatima, who's not here today, that's where we come in. You'll be assigned to one of us for communication, to let us know what's going on, for us to reach out to you as a week one check-in. Hey, how are things going? So we are there. We're kind of like your academic advisor, okay? But we are there to assist you, to support you. Your instructors, they are the #1 go-to people for this program if you're having issues, because they are the ones that are going to probably be able to help you the most through the class, through the issues you're having in class. Okay. And Steve might be able to address this a little bit, maybe after I'm done. Unfortunately, we do not have the resources at this time to do job or internship placement. So that's a big question that gets asked a lot is, will you place me in a job? Will you help me place me in a job? We just, unfortunately, it's not a part of our program right now. However, we try to support you in other ways with that. We have what are called fireside chats. These are just workshops that we have. They can be given by a particular employer. They could be from somebody who's very active in the cybersecurity community. They can be about networking. They could be about job searching. We are trying to plan one right now with LinkedIn on doing a LinkedIn profile. So those kinds of things to help boost the skills that you need to try to get that promotion, to try to get that job. Okay. Networking. That is always our number one recommendation for getting out there and trying to get a job in the cybersecurity field. Okay. We also have, and we try to have these about once a quarter, once a session. It kind of just depends. We will have career fairs that different employers will be there. If they are not particularly hiring, they are providing you with information that is helpful for you to try to get a job in the cybersecurity field. Steve, do you want to mention anything else about that employment piece of it?
Yeah. No, Chrissy, I think you did a good job. I think the only thing I'd add is to all of you out there, if you're transitioning, if you're looking at your ETS date, if you're recently out, we're a really good academic program. We have cool things like the fireside chats, career fairs. This is my personal opinion. If you're not plugged in with a nonprofit, you're wrong. That's my opinion. If you're transitioning, I just posted 3 links to really great groups that we have a partnership with, and they're all free. Act Now Education really does a great job at the soft skills. We will help you to fine tune those hard skills, help you get those certifications, help you get that certificate from the program, get you ready to get into cyber. Groups like Act Now help you with the soft skills, your resume assistance, your interview preparation. They work with places that'll get you a nice outfit for your. Thanks, Christina. I'm glad you know Act Now. They're like one of our best partners. Hire Heroes USA it's kind of like an Indeed, but only for military veterans. So the employers on there are looking specifically for them. They also have one-on-one resume assistance that they can help you with as long as you're a veteran, you qualify. And then Floor Block is another partner of ours. Great career readiness program over the course of 8 weeks. Every Wednesday you meet either in person or virtually, and you meet employers and you network with them, and they have like an 86% placement rate. Skill bridge programs are great. Vet Tech is great. I think the point here that I'm trying to make is that we offer some things to help you to get that gig. We don't guarantee it, but there are so many resources out there, it can be overwhelming. But if you do our program, we've got a few good partners that can help you get that job. We encourage you to attend every event that you can. We will help you gain the skills, but it's partially on you to get your job. And programs that guarantee you a job are often like contract jobs, or you're working for that company and then they place you somewhere else. That can work for you. That can work fine. But I encourage you to take advantage of other resources as well. We are not looking to reinvent the wheel of all career readiness and getting you a job. We're an excellent academic program. We know that, and we try to bridge that gap. Coursera access from Act Now is insane. That's such a good deal that Christina's mentioning. If you don't know Act Now, please plug yourself in. Check out their website. They actually have a orientation coming up next week. I'll be a part of. But that's all I really add. We'll have LinkedIn coming up now. We'll have a career fair at the end of the summer. And we have our fireside chats. That LinkedIn Rock Your Profile will be one of them. I also linked our YouTube website with some of our previous events as well. You're happy to check out.
I was just going to say that, Steve.
Yeah, we spent the last 3 years doing fireside chats, career fairs. They're all recorded. And the last thing I would say is for those of us staff members, and I'll volunteer myself here as well. If there's a company you're interested in, reach out. We very well may have a technical recruiter or a resource that we can connect you with. The power of a LinkedIn introduction or a CC introduction these days, if you're already not familiar, is extremely valuable and can lead to a job. And at the very least, an informational interview to get to the right person that can hire you. So I'm off my soapbox, but I've been doing this for a few years. I've helped a lot of vets to break into this, and I think that is there is not one solution. You need a good academic program like this, and you need also a supplemental resource to make sure that your resume is good, your elevator pitch is good, your interview skills are ready. And heck, if you need a suit, there's orgs out there that'll get you a suit. So
Okay.
that's
Thanks.
that's my, I'm off my
I
soapbox.
knew you'd be able to give more detail about that.
That's
So
it very, but I think, and I don't want to take it if you have anything more to say, Chrissy, but
there's the actual application process, but go ahead.
okay, I do want to
Yeah.
get to Q&A soon because I know we're
Yes.
pushing
Yes.
9 minutes left, but I want to make sure
Yes.
there's time for Q&A.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Chrissy. You're
Okay.
crushing it.
Yep.
Thank you.
So that's the program. Now, hopefully you've gotten some of the information. Again, we'll do our Q&A, but we do want to quickly cover what is the application. What does the application process look like? Because it can be pretty detailed. Okay. So first of all, here are our upcoming sessions. Our next available session for admission will start on August 12th. Again, we have limited capacity in each of these sessions. So if you are looking at starting and wanting to apply, I recommend getting started now, because you'll see here in a few minutes, it's not a few day process. Okay. It could take several weeks to get through this application process. And once that August session is full, it's full. Now, that does mean if you then finish and August is full, you can then look at going into the October session. You will see, as of right now, our last session of admission will be January. Okay. Our last session for the program is going to be June of next year. Okay. I know you all can count. This is 5 sessions left, and you have to take 6 classes. Okay. That does mean that in at least one of the sessions, it does not have to be the first, you might have to take 2 classes if you don't have a waiver already. Now, there is always a chance that our program will get additional funding and it will be extended. Okay. And if that's the case, you'll just keep going. If you absolutely cannot take 2 classes, you can still participate even if you're only going to finish 5 of them. Okay. Get what you can done. Okay. So what is the application process? Again, I want to reiterate for those who may not have been here at the beginning, admission is never guaranteed due to our limited capacity in our program. Okay. And again, I'm going to reiterate, if you were not here at the very beginning, right now, applications are only open for former military, law enforcement, first responders who are U.S. citizens or U.S. permanent residents as of 7/17/23. And at this time, spouses and dependents cannot be considered in those groups. Okay. You can apply to our program at www.cwct.us. Okay. As a part of the application process, you must provide proof of your U.S. citizenship or U.S. permanent residency. There is on our website, if you go to the steps to apply, it will give you a list of the documents that you would need to provide for these. But you cannot move on in the application process unless you provide us with the documents. It is a requirement of our funding. Okay. You also have to provide proof of your military, law enforcement, or first responder status. Again, a list of an example of those is on our website. Once you've applied, you will receive a confirmation that we've received your application within typically 5 business days. All these are estimates on the high end. It doesn't usually take us, but again, if one of us is out on vacations, things like that, it just can delay things. Then you will receive, once your documents are verified, you will receive verification that those have been verified. That could take up to 4 weeks after you apply. Right now, it's typically taking about 2 weeks. But if we get a huge number of applications that come in, it takes longer. Okay. After your documents have been verified, you're going to get instructions on how to create a My Ivy account through the Ivy Text system. You will be provided that information, and that can take up to 10 business days after your docs are verified. Okay. Then once you create your MyIV account, you're going to complete those assessments I've mentioned several times. There is an English and a math assessment. You have to score a 70 on each of those parts. You will get the information regarding this within 2 to 3 business days after getting the information to complete your MyIV. Typically, it's going to be the same day unless Amber is out or doing projects or in a meeting or what have you. After you have completed the English and math assessments, you will then be provided instructions on how to do our IT assessment. The 2 parts, there's a computer, just a basic informatics, history of computers, things like that, as well as a computing logic. It is not like programming, it's more logically thinking, which is the basis of being able to think logically, okay? We do not have any test prep materials for any of those, okay? You take the assessment, and if you do not meet the requirements, you do the additional work to bump your score up. So just because you don't get the 70 does not make you ineligible, okay? You have the ability to get your score up, okay? We do not provide waivers for the assessments because we are a consortium. All of us have different admission standards for our universities, okay? We do not provide waivers based on previous coursework, based on degrees, based on experience, okay? Everybody has to take the assessments, okay? Once you've completed all the assessments, we will verify with you your preferred starting session and track of study, because sometimes those do change. You provide that original information to us on the application. We verify it with you just in case it has changed. And then, you will receive an admission decision. Again, that's going to be 2 to 3 business days after verifying your preferred session. Again, admission is never guaranteed, even if you complete all your steps, because we do have a limited capacity. And that is my spiel.
Thanks, Chrissy. Well, I mean, you do an excellent job of providing all the info. I mean, it is. Oh, are you like featured for me now? Is it just me or is Chrissy really big?
That's just you.
Okay, I must have like the gallery, whatever view. Hold on. Yeah, that's better now. All right. Well, y'all, we've kind of gone through the nitty gritty. What questions y'all have? Feel free to raise your hand or just come off mute, and we're happy to answer it.
Okay, so I had asked in chat about the resources and stuff like that. Since you guys also say it's Northwest Purdue, does that have anything to do with like Purdue Global at all?
No, totally separate entities.
Okay, so then I'd have 2 resources.
Great.
Yes. Go
Sorry.
ahead, Chrissy.
Yeah, I was going to answer that. It's just because it's the latest question. Somebody asked about they misplaced their A+ and Security Plus certifications, but they have Credly. Yes, you can provide a screenshot of your Credly. Just make sure that it has your name displayed. The important piece and why we would need those certifications is we have to verify expiration dates. So those Credly verifies and provides those expiration dates. So yes, on your application, it will ask you to upload, if you already have any of these certifications, you could upload a screenshot of your Credly, or as somebody else mentioned, you can go into CompTIA and get a virtual copy. The other thing I want to mention, because this comes up the most with when you upload documents into your application, you can only upload 1 document per like question. So the question that asks you to upload certifications, if you have more than 1 of those certifications, you're going to need to zip it or like combine it into 1 file or zip it into 1 file or something to get them all in together, because you can only upload one file. Now, if you do not upload your documents in the application, you will be provided a link to upload those later. So you can always upload those certifications later as well. So what other
Nice.
questions do you all have?
What else we got? Jake?
Good evening.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, for my DD-214, I have a copy that's with the Social Security blocked out. Can I submit there, or do I need that?
Yep, that's fine.
Honestly,
Yeah, the social can be redacted on those. The
Okay.
important thing, and Amber might be able to, it's got to have what name. There's certain information it's probably going to have on it. But yeah, some people will redact their socials, which is fine, as long as it's got all the other information that we need.
Okay. Thank you.
perfect. I don't even know why I started talking. I don't process documents. I should shut up.
I had a question too. So I'm having an issue with my last name. Everything is going to show Aguilar on the veteran side. I've done the process to change it to the Militante, and I just can't get right. So is that going to be complicated when I submit my DD-214?
Typically, no. And again, sorry, Amber, if you put it, because we understand married, I'm guessing it's a married name.
Yes.
The
yes.
only time it would cause an issue is if the name is completely different. But they
Okay.
will typically use the information from the application, the birth date, the first name, the middle name. There's other information they can use to determine that you're the same person.
Yeah.
Right, Amber?
Okay.
Yeah. So
All
if
right,
your
thank you.
DD-214 says one thing and your passport or birth certificate says something else, I've had people just submit like a copy of their driver's license that shows their new legal name, so we know
Okay,
that
yeah.
this is all for the same person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, that should not be an issue. What other questions? And I will say really quick, if you can upload all those documents with the initial application, it will move through much faster than us requesting them later and you having to submit them. So we highly recommend go to that steps to apply, see what documents you have to have, and having them ready to go when you do your application.
I have a great tip here with that. I've said it like this is my 119th time saying it. Your unit has your birth certificate. They better. So if you don't have a passport, your unit has your birth certificate. If they don't, that's quite a surprise to me. That's not a good. That's not good.
And driver's licenses and social security cards are not proof of citizenship. Okay, that's our other big one. People will upload that. Proof of citizenship is your birth certificate or a passport, or a certificate of citizenship or naturalization, or for your permanent residence, your permanent resident card. But driver's licenses and social security cards are not proofs of citizenship.
Please don't submit your social security card.
Yes.
Abdel, we will send out the record. Well, we're probably going to put it on our YouTube channel, and let me link it again. That's probably where we'll put it. I don't know if we'll email you all because I don't want to bother you guys with a third email, but it will absolutely be uploaded to that YouTube channel and likely on LinkedIn. Is that good enough, Abdel? Yep, cool.
What other questions you guys have about the program, about the application process? Hopefully most of them were answered, but let us know.
Or about the Backstreet Boys?
No.
They don't need to know about that.
I was just
so
gonna
with the-
throw something in
Sorry.
with that.
You can-
Make sure you have a resume ready for any type of these programs because a lot of them require you to have a resume.
So that is a great recommendation. Always have a resume ready. We do ask you to upload it. It is not necessarily an admission requirement. So if you don't upload it, we're not going to deny you admission. We use it more for looking in case you have questions about certain things, getting to know you, those kinds of things. So it is on there, and yeah, but that is a great recommendation. Always have a resume ready. And that is one thing you can upload, but it is not necessarily a requirement. Yep.
And Christina, you had something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so my thing was I did the vet tech program and it was like really fast paced for me. I'm more like visual, hands-on. Is that more of what your program is? Because I'm not trying to fail a second time, going through a program. I want to make sure y'all sound like y'all are giving the right assistance though. Not to down vet tech, but I think they kind of took on a little too much they could handle when I went through.
Yeah.
because I was reaching out trying to get my assistance and nobody was ever really communicating back with me.
Yep.
So I'm getting
Yeah.
positive vibes. I'm not saying I'm
I
not.
get,
I just want to make sure, like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
when I need assistance in an area I'm struggling with, like
Yeah.
someone is gonna, guide me to where I'm understanding what's being given.
yeah, I guess what I would say immediately, Christina, is I think of this like doing a traditional college, like post-grad certificate program or something.
Mhm.
Each instructor is going to be different, right? And each course you're going to take is going to vary in levels of difficulty. It's like going to
Mhm.
it's like going to college. So unlike a lot of the programs that are out there, we are a collegial program. So the instructors have different personalities and they have different syllabi and different expectations. I
Mhm.
think what makes us unique is that we are not unique. We are very much like a lot of academic programs in which we have live faculty. But what I think is great is we have these staff members, like the three of us, to
Right.
answer us other questions. But to reiterate, though, I don't think we've designed our program to be fast paced, but we have not designed it to help you
Be
fail
easy.
or make
Yeah.
you fail or be easy.
Right.
Like we just say that because when we first, and I'll just be completely honest, when we first started this program, we wanted people to do it, right? So we're
Mhm.
advertising it. We're like, come do this program, it's really cool. And we had people that were not being very successful. And we tried to change our messaging to make sure that people understood that it was designed to help you succeed. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it is not going to be from any other. I was actually talking to Amber while we were discussing tonight that I think it'd be great to have alumni come out and talk during these drop-in sessions because
yeah.
we have alumni that have done similar programs like that, and I think they could attest to the difference. But I don't. That doesn't mean you're going to be necessarily extremely successful. I think you will be, but it's going to take dedication. But we are not
Right.
structured like what you're discussing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not the
And
Like I
feedback I've
was.
gotten from graduates at all.
I
And you'll
was
find,
like
oh, sorry, go
on that
ahead.
computer all the time. That's why I'm like, oh my God. Like I could not get off of it because of the quizzes, the tests, and the labs. I was like, I need to pull away.
Yeah, you'll be able to. We structure it to work around your schedule, and that's why it takes 8 to
Awesome.
10 weeks and six months to a year to finish. But
Okay.
just as long as you're doing your work, but you're not going to feel
So
as
I
much.
was just going to
Yeah.
say that, Steve,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is students who put in the work pass. Okay.
Okay.
90, I would say our pass rate for students who are doing the work is
Mhm.
probably like at least 90% in classes.
If not more. Yeah.
More, 95, 98%. So as long as you're doing the work, you're going to pass. Those who are failing classes, they just disappear off the face of the earth and never tell us where they're going or what they're doing. So as long as you are putting in the work, I think you'll be successful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure. Karen, did you have something? I saw you come on camera. I appreciate that. Oh no, I'm just calling you out. My bad. I saw you come on camera. I thought you had a question. My
That's
fault.
okay. He does it to me all the time.
I do. Yeah. All right, what else we got, y'all? I know we're a little bit over time, but we're not in necessarily a rush to get out of here. The only thing calling my name is to finish my documentary about the Ottoman Empire tonight.
Oh, God.
Oh, I'm gonna finish it too. I'm gonna make spaghetti and finish my documentary. What else we got? Y'all interested? Questions? Eligibility? Time commitment? All right, with that, I'm gonna go ahead here. I'm gonna stop